All right. My name is John Croze. I'm the head football coach for the Calumet Copper Kings, and you can see with my overlay here, we're the northernmost school district in Michigan. We're a Division 6 school. I just looked at the regional setups. Looks like we're one of the smaller schools in Division 6, and we are a member of the Westpac Conference. I just finished my 29th year coaching at Calumet, 20th year as head coach. We've been very successful, and we hang our hat on a family culture. We want to be able to look each other in the eye and be accountable to each other. It's definitely a blue collar work ethic. We promote multi-sport athletes in a school our size, Division 6 schools. We promote 3-sport athletes, and I think we have an excellent athletic program because of that. And we also make time for kids to be kids. We don't put a whole lot of expectations outside of our own sports seasons because we're promoting the 3-sport athletes. And we feel that just with the work ethic and time being other athletes and kids doing the best they can to get the workouts in, we've been very successful. This is my 29th year, but I remember every year like it just happened. And when I was a young coach, I did a lot of self-learning. These tips for young coaches came from Rick Pennypacker, who was a coach that I listened to in a Glazier clinic back in many years ago. And I've added this and made it more towards what we do in Calumet. A couple things that I want to point out here is always want to learn. I started coaching before the internet was a thing, and I remember locking myself in the library at school for quite a few hours just reading football books and trying to expand my knowledge to more than what I just learned as a player. I talked to people, I went to clinics, I worked camps. I went and talked to other coaches. I went and talked to Northern Michigan coaches, Michigan Tech coaches. Anywhere I could talk to someone about football, I did. The work ethic part, you got to outwork everyone. I learned this from Buck Nystrom. He's a legendary coach, offensive line coach. If you're a dog ass, then a good chance your players are going to be dog turds. And so you don't ever skimp and you got to outwork everyone, outwork your staff, outwork your players, outwork the other coaches. And the last two are always things that I try and get my young guys to understand is it's my program. I'll be the decision maker. I'm certainly going to consult you guys for helping me make decisions. But when I make my decisions, make sure you're in my back pocket and have my back, and don't just say when you're out in the public, not my decision, because we are all in this together. Our defensive philosophy is very similar to this, and we build a defensive philosophy I highly recommend as a defense coordinator. If you're stepping into that, build a defensive philosophy and then build your defense around it. You'll see as we continue how we talk about 11 players of the ball and out hitting the other team and just being aggressive. We attack, react, pursue, tackle. And every bit of our practice is geared to teaching that. I don't know that this is necessarily something I share with all the kids. This is just what's on in my mind, and I share it with the coaches and what should be on in their minds as we make decisions. I think as a young defensive coordinator, we would look at our personnel and say, all right, we have so many linebackers, let's play a defense that has more linebackers involved. And we would fit our defense to personnel. And that was fine. And we had a lot of great teams and a lot of great successes defensively. But at some point in time, we came up to this decision of, we're going to have a defensive philosophy and we're going to fit our personnel to this defensive philosophy. And we're way better. And I think the number one reason is we get to grow. We get to build on things that we've learned every year. We know how to defend various types of offensive sets in our defense now. And some of those we've learned the hard way. But at least we've been able to tweak with the same defense over the years, and we're very happy with where we are now. Let's see, we have a base package that we teach, and then we go through our weekly adjustments, and then we have our game day adjustments. We have a basic formation and motion adjustments, and that was always a big battle every year when we would come up with a different defense to fit our personnel. Because now you have to come up with decisions on how to defend various formations, various motions, and that would get us into trouble year in and year out. We're mostly an 8-man front and mostly zone coverage. But our defensive culture, 4 main things. We want to be able to look each other in the eye and be accountable to each other. And we're getting 11 guys the ball every play. If you can't be getting to that ball and play with a high energy motor, then we don't want you on our defense. And we're going to tackle and be physical. And that doesn't mean we're going to be physical when we tackle. We're going to be great tacklers, and we're going to attack, react, and be physical when we can be. And part of that is playing with low shoulders. And so those are things that we work on right from day one and every day in practice. Pursuit is what we hang our hat on, though. You could see here on defense, we're always getting 11 guys to the ball. We'll go through each play a couple of times here as we move forward. And it doesn't matter what type of play. Here's a play right up the gut, but we're getting guys off our blocks and getting to the ball. 9 guys in on that tackle. Get up off the ground. 68 didn't do a good job there, but he just finished the year as the best defensive player in the UP. Took a play off, though. Watch everyone getting to the ball and breaking off their path and not stopping until they get to hear the whistle or get to the ball. And I think this is we do this every play. When I started putting this presentation together, it was so easy to find plays to put into this presentation because we do it every play. Here's just even a pass downfield. You get 11 guys to the ball, hustling to the ball, and ball comes loose, and our 7 guys to their 1, we win the battle and get the ball back. So pursuit equals 11 to the ball every play. I used to think pursuit was taking the proper angle to get to a ball downfield, but that can be some of the drill work you do. But pursuit is having the mentality of I'm getting to the ball in this play and I'm making an impact. And it's our culture, and it starts with coaches demanding this behavior and confronting the behavior that they do not get. And so I do that when I see it. The lowest accepted behavior is your culture, and I think that's important as you move forward. If you let 1 guy slide, then 2 guys are going to slide eventually. And so we don't let anyone slide at any point during the day. We start this from day 1. We work on it every day, every drill, every defensive rep. And basically what we do is we call it the 2-whistle drill. I think there's actually supposed to be 3 whistles, but we just go with 2 whistles. And so whether we're playing live football or playing thud football, or we play a lot of live to the ball carrier and 2-hand touch, palms up to the ball carrier, well, whenever that tackle is the first whistle. Ball carrier stops, maintains position while the defense still pursues to the ball. No hesitations, no oh yeahs, no pulling up early. No like 15 yards away lollygagging to the ball. Everyone is sprinting. And the second whistle, it kind of depends. You'll get your feel of this after a while, but it's within a second to 2 to 3 seconds after the play is after the first whistle. That's when the defense stops. And so they don't stop on the first whistle. It's the second whistle. And our requirement is 9 of the 11 players must be within 3 yards of the ball. The other 2 have some leeway because they're usually the weak side D end, outside back, or a cornerback. And then at that point, the defense does a breakdown and then hustles back to the next play. Pursuit won't work if you don't set the edge. And so this has evolved over the years for us. But like right here, if you look at this play, we do a great job getting to the ball, but we don't make the tackle if number 33 here doesn't set the edge and force that ball back inside. And so there's 33 setting the edge, and there's our defense. We have 4 or 5 guys in on the tackle, and you can see it as I pause here. Whoops. I'll pause this. On the next play, same team, same basic play and set, except 33 gets sucked inside, and we don't set the edge. And now, even though we have guys fly into the ball, they can't get there because we didn't set the edge. We didn't push it back inside to where the pursuit came from. And actually, this was a huge play in the game. If we make the tackle, we set the edge, this game is over right here. This kid ends up going and getting a first down, and they end up going down and scoring on this drive and making a game we should have won 20-0. Very interesting. We did squeeze it out and win 12-8. Let's finish this off. But you can see here, I think that was a 3rd down play, and don't set the edge. And now we can't get the job done. And so our edge play is basically designed to deal with these 3 guys right here. Our D end, our outside backer, and what we call our alley player. And depending on strength, could be the free safety, or a lot of times weak side corner. Or in a power set, it could be the strong side corner also. But we call it the triangle. The end is a C-gap player. The outside backer is the force. He sets the edge. His basic alignment is 3x3 off the D end. And our safety and corner is 6 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he's what our alley player is. And so our D end sets the inside edge. Our outside backer sets the outside edge, and our alley player fills. And in a lot of times, he's the unblocked player and is the one making the play. If you look down here, what we call the heels of the D end, we have a screen door. And we'll talk about that screen door as we move forward here. At the snap of the ball, our outside backer steps towards his read, which is typically the near halfback or the fullback. And our ultimate goal is to use this stack right here as kind of a shield. We're reading through that shield. We're reading this block into the backfield. And if he comes towards us, we're going to stay right in here and read. We want the ability to be able to step inside if we need to, or step up if we need to. And so a lot of times what we're doing is we're settling right into here, right at that screen door. Now, if it's a straight lateral movement, we're stepping up to the line of scrimmage. We are not going to go flying across the line of scrimmage and create a vertical seam. We're going to settle at that line of scrimmage and be ready to take on our block. If the flow goes away from us, that's when we go and settle at the screen door. We're looking for plays to come back towards us. We're looking for cutbacks. We're looking for bootlegs or waggles. And so once we see the ball cross the line of scrimmage, then we can enter and go through the screen door and pursue. But you'll see here that we tend, no matter what we're in, a 4 front or a 5 front, we're looking to set our edge on both sides that way with the triangle. And depending on if we have a tight end set or a twin set, we just adjust our alignment. But you can see down here, we still have our triangle set. The interior people, we're just going to use a mixture of alignments, movements, blitzes, to try and create confusion on these inside 4 gaps and create problems with blocking and trying to force things out into our alley players. Now here's some good edge play right here. Here's our outside backer setting a good edge with our free safety coming through and filling the alley. Now you can see right here's our outside backer. Here's our free safety, the alley player. And kind of like this is the strong side of our formation. So our corner on this side is kind of like a secondary edge player. You'll see he'll slow play it at first and kind of read the situation, so he can help our outside backer on outside force, or he can also help the safety on filling the alley. But you can see the outside backer and safety do a great job, and you can see here our D end is going to do a great job pushing this ball outside. And so there's all three parts of the triangle working together. Same thing on the short side here. 20 goes and sets the edge. Cornerback comes up, makes a great tackle, great form tackle, eyes through the thighs. And look at the pursuit coming in behind him. And I think one of the things that we get into here, and I'm going to go through this play one more time, is, you know, in this formation, it's kind of a balanced power set. So our free safety's in the middle. He's kind of our alley player on this, secondary alley player. But you can see that they commit a blocker to this player, which freed up 26. If that same blocker comes to 26 and he keeps his outside free, now our free safety is stepping in that hole and making the same tackle. And so kind of like how some of our power formations try and overwhelm you at the point of attack with blockers, we're trying to overwhelm you at the point of attack with tacklers. Okay. Same situation, except now our outside backer doesn't quite set the edge like he should, but he pushes it outside. You could see there's our cornerback adjusts and a nice tackle. I feel he should have got his eyes across the thighs a little better, but you can see our free safety is also and flowing, and we have great pursuit there. I love this play. I love our outside backer. Whoops. I love our, whoa. What's going on here? I love our outside backer setting the edge, just taking on a great block, stringing it out, and our free safety just pushing it and getting after it. This was some awesome football being played here. Calumet versus Westwood from 2 years ago. I think we won this game in the playoffs 6-0 after beating them in the regular season 8-0 on the same field. Just two powerful football teams going after each other. Tackling, we just go with the Seahawk tackling. Seahawk tackling, eyes through the thighs, wrap and squeeze, drive for 5. We work hard on positioning. And we're not just talking about your position on a tackle, eyes through the thighs and sink your hips. We're also talking about our positioning along the football field. Being in good position and working together to compress the play or the ball is a great way to ensure you're making tackles. Understanding the situation. Are you one-on-one, or do you have great pursuit coming in? Attitude. I'm going to be part of every tackle is important, and you have to work it every day, whether you're hitting, not hitting. Our first 2 days is where we're just have helmets on. We do a lot of work with tackling. We're teaching our tackling drills. We're teaching how to do it. We're teaching the basics. So that way we're not wasting time when we actually get pads on. We're teaching our pursuit drill. And so at this level, it's teaching tempo, and we can really put a lot of time and emphasis into teaching our kids to do things right. Days 3 and 4, when we start putting shoulder pads on, we pick up the intensity a little bit. Whoops. Team becomes thud into pursuit. And day 5, when we go full go, we get into a full tackling circuit. We do a nutcracker and our 3-level drill, which we'll go over later. And we finish the day off with some half line live and do 4 plays from the 10-yard line, offense versus defense, and just rotate people through So we're not doing a ton of live reps per person, but we're getting a lot of team live reps. Week 2, we get into the 3 whistle drill, tackling by position, and we do group tackling drills every day. And some of this drill work we'll go through shortly. And team, some live, some thud, but we're always blowing the whistle. First whistle, ball carrier stops, second whistle, defense stops. Realize that there's a 2 whistle drill for pursuit and a 3 whistle drill for tackling, I guess needs to be said. In season, we do the 3 whistle drill every time we have shoulder pads on. Lots of dummy use and positioning drills, and we work on what we need to. As we watch film and grade ourselves, if we need to work more on tackling, we will do that. And our team sessions in season tend to be a lot of thud with 2-hand touch, palms up. And so we're talking about being in proper position to make the tackle, but not actually going through the tackling. So let's back this up here a little bit. And so you can see right here that on the far side of this is our outside backer, kind of setting up into, I'd say he's a little deep here, but that's what we call the screen door. And he's sitting at that screen door, looking at the ball and waiting. But this is what we talk about being in great position. With the pursuit and him in position, now his shoulders are square, and he's going to make a tackle on one of the best athletes in the UP this year. And just a fabulous tackle. Maybe it could be a little bit lower, but all the tenets of what we do with our Seahawk tackling. Square up, come up, and keep the feet going and wrap up and drive. Outstanding. There's our inside backer. I'm just making a great read. Shoulders across, the thighs. The only thing I thought he could have done a better job at here was just keeping those feet driving, but just fabulous read, fabulous form tackle, and great pursuit by his teammates again. Here's another inside backer. Same basic thing going on here. Great read, gets in, puts that shoulder across the thighs. And once again, I think he could have done a better job keeping his feet going, but he does have pursuit there helping him out with that too. This is one we work on extensively with our corners. You can see right here, here's our alley player, and he's kind of reading his outside backer, and I'm not sure if we had a stunt on here or what. I feel like we almost had a stunt on here because that outside backer comes bailing hard inside of his block, so he's not trying to set the edge very well. But what we tell our guys is if everything's clogged up inside, the ball carrier is going to come bouncing outside, and we want you to take him out, just come flying across that line of scrimmage and take him out at the legs. And Sam was outstanding at this. He gave away about 50, 60 pounds on this tackle, but when you're coming across those thighs, doesn't matter. Those big guys go down. Watch how hard the kid goes down. Taking on blocks, boy, in this era of cutting down on contact, this is tough, but I feel we're better at it than we've ever been. Kind of varies by position, but we work on it through controlled hitting, lots of teaching tempo, form fit, shed, tackle, play recognition, play fits. How do you fit into certain plays? And we do those over and over. Kids get sick of it, but it's important as to how do you fit and how do you take on ice? How do you take on toss when you're at the various positions? And it's important for how you know how to play, but also how are your teammates fitting into that, so you see the importance of what you're doing. If we're going to do anything live in drills, we're cutting down on our distance tremendously. Like we could do a form, fit, shed, and tackle drill where we're just 1 yard from the blocker, cutting down on the speed, but still going through all the proper technique and shedding. And we'll work on our live reps during team and make sure that things are going all right. And if we find problems with team, then we can come back and address them the next day in an individual session. Here's our inside backer, destroying a block, going through the block. And we always talk, if you take on that block through the block, sometimes you could just make that tackle. But part of it is he didn't get himself in the way of his teammates and destroyed a block who almost basically caused the tackle. And it was very violent. And I find that if you're doing these at teaching tempo and practice, they're more willing to be this aggressive in the game too. We don't try and out hit each other in practice. Here's our inside backer destroying an ice block and then getting back up and getting to the play. Watch how he just destroys this block with the top of his shoulder pad. Outstanding. And you don't always have to be a big hitter and taking on a block. 14 certainly isn't being overly physical with this guy, but in position, put himself with extension so he could get off the block and help out on the tackle. I think that play is a great example of our edge play and tackling. Our outside backer on the top does a great job taking on a much bigger blocker and stronger blocker. He does not win the battle, but he doesn't lose the battle. In fact, he stalemates them, and our safety does a great job filling the alley, reading. We have great pursuit to push them out to the safety. And if I remember correctly, I think we forced them to punt. Drill work. These are things that I've picked up over the years. Some of the drills are from other coaches, other programs, things I did at clinics in the summer. But a lot of the thoughts in terms of drill work come from Buck Nystrom. What a fabulous coach. A lot of great thoughts, a lot of great things come from him. If you've ever had the opportunity to interact with them, I'm sure it's very memorable. I think the most important thing is have a teaching progression. You know, start with the basics of the drill and then work into the more complicated aspects of it. Is it an agility, conditioning, skill, position, skill, game situation? Is it individual, group, team? Drill for a purpose and select drills that meet that purpose. You know, I think I look back in my old days and just think all the nonsense drills and time-consuming drills. And I think most of them were just set for conditioning. I think it's important as you teach to build an understanding for your players as to the why and how of your drills, and demand and confront. And I've talked about this before. It's so important to be consistent with every player. Don't just go through drill work and not pay attention just to get time and drill work. This is where you repetition, build good habits, and break bad habits. Don't let a player repeat his mistakes. Your lowest accepted behavior is your culture. So if you're letting a player repeat his mistakes, then that's what your culture is going to be. We coach on the run. We try and not let everyone listen to us. We want to keep and get kids getting as many reps as possible. And we don't put more than 3 in a line. I remember walking by the gym about 4 years ago and watching one of the basketball coaches do a shooting drill where everyone on the team was in line, and they'd watch one person shoot, go and get the rebound, turn around and pass it to the next person. And so everyone was getting like one shot every 2 or 3 minutes. All right, that's not good drill work. No more than 3 in a line. Everyone there is coaching each other up, and they know the why and how so that they can help you with that. My favorite drills The first one is the tire pull. Throw up some used tires on one of your 5-yard lines. Kids grab onto it with 2 hands each, and their goal is to pull that tire 5 yards behind them. You cannot let go of the tire. This is about being tough, being strong, not quitting. And this is where we find out what kids want to be part of the defense. And we try and match up kids that are going to push each other and not just pull that tire across in 3 seconds. And so we see some incredible battles here. And it's where you start building your culture. We typically will do that within day 1 or 2. We don't need pads on to do this one. It's a good one to kind of finish off one of your first couple days of practices with. The desire drill, we get into that one when the first day we put shoulder pads on. This is another one that kind of gets after it. You see here we have 2 guys, each with a shield, blocking shield. This is the defensive player. And up here is a big dummy that a coach is kind of holding upright. Whoops. On the whistle, the defensive player can take one of 3 paths to try and tackle the dummy, and the drill is not over until he tackles the dummy. And the 2 people with shields try and keep him from doing that, and then basically they're allowed to hit him from they work together, but they can hit him from any angle as long as it's not from behind or dirty. And drill isn't over till tackle is made, and sometimes those 2 guys can hold him off forever. And there's times where you think you should just blow the whistle because he's so tired, but no, this is desire. Who's got the desire? Who's going to get there? Tackling drills, we spend a lot of time on these. The sprint, patter, react is very heavy the first week, maybe 2 weeks. Defensive guy starts on the hash, and then we have some cones set up. First cone is probably about 5 yards from the ball carrier. The ball carrier is behind a cone that's on the sidelines. And then the defense sprints. When he gets to the first cone, he starts pattering, breaking down, chopping the feet, moving towards this cone. Once he gets to the 3rd cone, the offensive guy jumps left or right, 1 hard step left or right, and the defensive guy reacts, doesn't touch him, but is in a breakdown position, ready to make a good tackle on him. And so on the whistle, it's sprint, patter, and then react to the offense. And the offense takes his hard step once the defensive guy gets to the cone. And so you could set up multiple alleys of this and just have guys whipping through this. And this is basically for open field tackling, which leads into our 3 whistle drill. Every day, all day, we do this so much. We'll pair up offensive guy on like the 20-yard line. Defensive guy is on the 40-yard line, equally spaced apart. First whistle, they start running. They run towards each other. The second whistle, the offensive guy just stops and chops his feet. The defensive guy starts pattering. And then the 3rd whistle, the offensive guy angles left or right, and the defense reacts and performs a proper tackle. And we start off at half tempo, 3/4 tempo, and can get up to full tempo. And we go through the full tackling progression here. Eyes through the thighs, drive for 5, and wrap up and squeeze. The thigh board tackle is also part of Seahawk tackling. We could do this at a teaching tempo. If we go into live tempo, we certainly cut down the distance of it. And we also add in, the old cutback to it too. First off, we're just working on the thigh board. How do you do that properly? Get those shoulders through, have the confidence to do it. You're not going to get hurt if you hit with the top of the shoulder pads. And then we start adding a cutback, and so we start working on proper positioning. The leverage drill. Okay, this is my PowerPoint artistry here, but these are 2 big dummies. with, I'm talking about blocking dummies here, not the two guys on the dummies. But this is for anyone. And so they get in 4-point stances above the bag, straddling the big dummies. Usually hands are on top of the bags, feet are straddling. And on the whistle, they're going to use the same shoulder. So I'll yell out right shoulder, left shoulder. And they're going to attack each other like a lineman with that proper shoulder and try and drive each other off the bag. And coach will end the drill instantly if either head is in bad position, but drill ends when one drives the other off the bag or if they both hit the ground. The 3-level drill, this is a great drill for matching up at the different levels of defense. The first level is offensive line versus defensive line in 3- or 4-point stances. Second level is running back and linebacker in 2-point stances. Third level is wide receiver and DBs in 2-point stances. And you can see that we get a little bit wider as we go. And drill starts with a quarterback and running back and a cadence. And he hands the ball off to the running back who tries to make it through the 3 levels of one-on-one first score. And then lover's lane can be, use your imagination. You can use half line. You can do the setup we have here where it's just 3 offensive line versus 3 defensive line. You have a fullback, tailback, and a quarterback and a linebacker DB. We typically will go 4 downs to score 10 yards. We'll change the width of this. Sometimes we can go like the short side of a field for 10 yards and just do half line. We can vary matchups, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, you know, whatever you want. We can match it up to do scouting report stuff and work on just ice and power or dive or our option responsibilities. But we do it all the time. This would be a good group, something we do in group before we come into team. As a young coach and you start working on a defense, I think one of the things you always have to account for are formation of variations. We have some automatic adjustments that we do. Like our outside linebacker is always going to press a wing on his side. If there's no tight end to your side, our defensive line reduces down, moves a half guy down, 1 guy down, depending on the scouting report. If it's an unbalanced formation, we may shift 1 guy and play the call defense. You know, that might be a scouting report type thing. But early on, that's what we do is we teach shift 1 guy and play the call defense. What are your twins and trips adjustments? Ours are always the same. And how do you deal with motion? And so we teach those automatics early. We don't wait. We're doing it right away because these are things that we don't want to think about. Scouting report type stuff and things you have to have plans for, spread and trips adjustments. We see a lot of wing T formation, so we have to have a wing T rule. We're starting to see a lot of full house T. So we've learned some lessons the hard way, and we have a philosophy for that. We know what we do with our power formations. We teach we're an option team, so our kids know what our option responsibilities are from day 1. How do we adjust to motion and big splits? And we have our fundamental adjustments versus scouting report, weekly adjustments versus game day adjustments. And a lot of times game day and scouting report adjustments are things that you have in the back of your mind and ready to use as the week progresses and as the game progresses. You know, you have your game plan, but you also have some backups ready to go. Learn about the offenses you're going to defend and have a plan going into the season, and then scout the heck out of them. Wing T rules. These are the 4 rules we teach. Our kids can know them inside out when we play a wing T. We start it right from Monday. Read your key, not the ball. Linebackers, follow your guards to the ball. Trap the trapper if you're inside. And if the halfback moves to your side, moves away from you, sit, squat, and look for the fullback or counter action. So here's a couple here, just our linebackers getting to the ball by reading the guards. Just classic wing T buck sweep action right here. Our outside backer sets the edge well, turns things back in, and there's our inside linebacker filling. Same game. This time our other inside backer reads the guards, defeats his block, and gets to the ball. And so when we play these teams, these wing T teams, we spend a lot of time with these two guys reading the two guards. And then we always work on trying to get around these blocks because it's down blocks. Guards pull down blocks, and so we have to get around those blocks so we can get to the ball. And Chico does a great job here, avoiding the block and making the tackle at the line of scrimmage. There's a trap the trapper by our defensive tackle. Just fabulous job. Quick kid, doesn't even make contact with a D tackle. And then just great pursuit helps him with the overall tackle. Okay, here's our outside backer. If you watch the play, the halfback went away from him. So he sat and squatted. I wish you would have sat and squat a little bit more rather than bailing out to the flats right away, because I really feel he could have been put in position to break that play up or even make a pick. There's our outside backer, number 36. You see the halfback in front of him here, starts moving away from him. So he's sitting squats, starts looking for people coming in, and makes a good tackle on the way, fullback in the flat. And same player right here, halfback goes away, sits and squats, and makes the play on, the common tackle trap out of the wing T. And last one, just always looking, like those wing T teams are always looking on this waggle, looking for the drag. There's our safety just kind of sitting to help on the drag. And one thing we always do in practice too is every time there's a turnover in practice, we take it to the house. Even if it takes an extra minute out of practice to do that, look how everyone here turns around and gets a block and tries to get us pick six for us. Our basic trips adjustment goes something like this. On the trip side, we want to go and disrupt that with our outside backer. This would be a cornerback right here. He's kind of an outside quarter player, deep flat to outside quarter. He's only going to go to that outside quarter or deep quarter if someone turns it up and is in that quarter. If this guy goes deep, or if someone does an out and up, he's going to go with them. Our safety is deep half, and usually weak side we go deep half also. But you can see 36 is up here, creating an issue, forcing them back inside to the pursuit. And you can see our outside 14, he's got that guy going deep with him, so he goes with him, and our free safety can sit and help out on the inside guy. On the weak side, you'll see a couple different things from us. You can see right here, here's our triangle because it's a tight end set on this side. So we'll probably go like a cover 2 look, flats and deep half. If this guy splits out, you're probably going to see us in a kind of a man look. Kind of depends on what the scouting report says. And there's 36, our outside backer on the weak side, just kind of stepping in front of a tight end dump. Spy is something that we've added in for a quarterback that likes to scramble, or teams that like to do that. And so what we'll do is with the spy technique is speed rush to the side that we expect that guy to try and break contain. We'll take our linebacker and he's just mirrors the quarterback. This D tackle kind of sets the hard A gap, waits for the D end on the weak side. He's going to come upfield 1 yard and come down the line of scrimmage hard and try and fill the alley that these two are creating. And so once he passes, now this guy will go into some sort of contained rush here. And the linebacker's basically just there to spy the quarterback, and when he breaks contain, our goal is to push him away from where he wants to go, and then our backer will go and chase him. And so you can see right there, our speed rush to the right forces him left, and then our so let's see, number 40 is the spy here. We're going to speed rush with these guys. And you can see that. And there's 56 coming inside. So I force him away from where he want to go. Now he's throwing against his body. I guess on this play right here, our D end was supposed to speed rush, tried to dip inside and gave up the contain. If he would have kept a speed rush, I think we would have had a different result here. There's 40. 40 is the spy again. You can see there's the speed rush up on top. Forces him out of where he wanted to go with, and force the quarterback into a big hit out of our outside backer. And there's 56 fighting inside. Boom. And there's 56, 56. He's a great D end for us, but like if he keeps his speed rush, he's doing what he wants, and I don't think they complete this pass. Heavy adjustments. You can see here, this is with the split end out wide and a lot of these wildcat sets now, I don't think we would probably overshift too much here, because on this side, we have our triangle that we like. We have our alley player. We don't necessarily need the alley player on the weak side because of the tight end or because of the split end. He could still fill the alley somewhat from the weak side, but we have more guys than them on the weak side, so we don't need that alley player. In this type of set, in an I formation with that heavy, you would see us shift over one guy to the strength because we still have 4 guys to their 3 blockers on the weak side. And that's it. This is John Croze, and you can get a hold of me in Calumet High School. Just go to the website. You'll get my email off of there. Thank you.